Gary Vaynerchuk's take on patience in business growth. In today's fast-paced business world, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of growth, innovation, and constant change. We often hear about lightning-fast startups and overnight millionaires, leading us to believe that success comes quickly and effortlessly. But what if I told you there's a different path to business growth, one that involves patience? That's where Gary Vaynerchuk comes in, offering his unique take on the power of patience in business. Let me tell you this. Have you ever felt like your business was growing too fast, leaving you overwhelmed by the sheer number of tasks and decisions to make? Or perhaps you've seen your competitors move ahead at an alarming rate, making you feel like you're falling behind. Gary Vaynerchuk has experienced both sides of this coin, and he shares with us how patience can be the secret weapon for sustainable business growth. You might be wondering, why does Gary Vaynerchuk emphasize patience when everyone seems to want immediate results? Well, let's dive into his journey and see how he found this valuable lesson. Gary Vaynerchuk started his business journey in the wine industry, specifically in retail. His father, Joe Vaynerchuk, had a vineyard in New York, and Gary took over the family business when he was just 17 years old. He soon realized that running a wine store wasn't just about selling bottles. It was about building relationships and understanding customer needs. Over time, he expanded his operations beyond just selling wine to creating a comprehensive online presence, including social media platforms. One of the first lessons Gary learned was the importance of slow and steady growth. He understood that building trust and loyalty with customers takes time. Instead of rushing into new markets or launching multiple products simultaneously, Gary chose to focus on one thing at a time. This allowed him to refine his strategy and ensure that every step of his business growth was well thought out. Here's something you should know: Gary's approach to patience didn't come naturally. He recounts a story about his early days when he tried to rush things. "I wanted to open a second location in New Jersey right away," he says. "But my team and I realized we needed more time to understand the local market, build relationships, and ensure everything was set up correctly. Rushing would have been counterproductive." It took him several years, but they eventually opened the second location, and it became a huge success. Gary's journey taught him that in business, speed isn't always synonymous with efficiency. Sometimes, taking the time to listen, learn, and adapt is crucial. Let's explore how this concept applies to other areas of business. In today's digital age, entrepreneurs face overwhelming choices. There are countless apps, tools, and strategies available to help grow a business. However, Gary believes that the best way to succeed is by choosing fewer, better tools and focusing on building a strong foundation. For instance, instead of trying to master 10 different social media platforms, Gary suggests focusing on 2 or 3 that align with your target audience. By doing so, you can create a more meaningful connection with your customers and achieve better results. Here's an example of how this approach can work. Consider a small e-commerce business. Initially, they might think about launching a blog, setting up Instagram, and exploring Facebook ads all at once. But Gary would advise them to prioritize their efforts. Maybe they could start with a strong blog and Instagram presence, which are more organic and less expensive compared to paid ads. Once they see success with these channels, they can gradually expand their reach. Patience also means being willing to invest in long-term goals rather than short-term gains. Gary emphasizes the importance of creating a vision and sticking to it, even when faced with challenges. For instance, he talks about his experience with Grapevine, a platform he created to help businesses connect with their customers. He admits that the initial launch was challenging, and there were times when he doubted whether it would succeed. But he remained patient and focused on refining the product based on user feedback. This patience led to a gradual increase in usage and ultimately a successful outcome. Gary reflects, "We kept refining Grapevine, listening to our users and iterating until we got it right. Today, it's used by thousands of businesses worldwide, and I'm proud of the impact it's having." So, how can you apply Gary Vaynerchuk's wisdom of patience in your own business? Firstly, set clear goals and stick to them. Break them down into manageable steps and take your time to execute each one. Gary's advice here is to avoid the temptation to rush into new ventures. Instead, focus on building a solid foundation. Secondly, be willing to pivot when necessary. In a rapidly changing business environment, it's important to be flexible and adapt your strategies accordingly. Gary's experience with Grapevine shows that sometimes the most successful outcomes come from taking a different path. Lastly, remember that success doesn't happen overnight. Building a successful business requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to learn from both successes and failures. Gary's journey teaches us that true growth comes from within, and it's worth the wait. In conclusion, Gary Vaynerchuk's take on patience in business growth offers a refreshing perspective that goes against the current trend of quick fixes and instant gratification. His experience as a business owner and entrepreneur has shown him that sustainable success is achieved through careful planning, strategic execution, and unwavering commitment to your vision. So, the next time you find yourself tempted to rush into new opportunities, consider the benefits of patience. It may lead you to a more fulfilling and successful journey. Remember, the road to growth is paved with patience.